Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Sarcasm Speaks. We are Jared and Bob, and coming at you here tonight for us tonight. Every time I don't know for some reason, every time I hear the word tonight, I think of Herb Brooks. I almost called him Herb Dean for a second, but that's the that's the referee for the UFC, and also not who's the other guy? Herb Chambers, right? He's the car dealer in New England. That if anyone's not from around here would have no idea who Herb Chambers is.
Where's that? No. Who is that guy?
What was it?
The politician from whatever years ago. He was like a Northeast guy. The
Oh,
Yeah.
Howard Dean.
Oh,
Yeah,
Howard Dean. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, not yeah. Herb Dean, Howard Dean, Herb Brooks, Herb Chambers. There's a lot of overlap. Also strange that many famous people's name are Herb. Like, pick a better name. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess names go in waves. Henry's coming back around. There's a lot of children named
Henry.
Henry.
Interesting.
That's making a yeah, the Henrys are making a comeback.
I feel like it's if it's I feel like it's all cyclical. As most things usually are.
Never heard of this before.
Yeah. If they're not making a profit, how do they survive? Um, but I feel like a lot of names are generational, right? Or they're like a lot of people, what I'm trying to say is a lot of people are named after like their grandparents, right? So that's why there's like weird gaps in between. And then there's always going to be people that name their kid fucking banana, right? Or like fucking sunshine. That's always going to happen. But the whole like wave thing, like I think it makes sense from that standpoint, right? If you consider that like a lot of people name their kids after either their grandparents or what would be the great grandparent, right? Like the parents' grandparents. I feel like that happens quite a bit.
Yes, I don't know what the naming process looks. Yeah, I mean, I guess usually that's probably how it would go, but
Right? It's like, oh, my grandfather's name was Enzo, right? So like then you see, oh, I want to name my kid Enzo because it's like my grandfather, you know what I mean? Like that type of shit. But because
also, I guess
I'm trying to think of like an old, like not Gertrude because that's too old, but I'm trying to think of like an older name that would have been like our grandparents' generation, right? That like might make a comeback as like a vintage name. I can't really think of a good one. Like Marjorie, maybe? Because it could be shortened to Maggie or Margie. Marjorie might be a good one for like maybe it make a comeback
I
because
feel
that
like
is an
girl
older
names are a
name.
little different. I feel like girl names have swung kind of like one way. And
Yeah,
because and
that's
because
fair.
girls are brutal, like I don't know if you can really, I don't know if you can really name your daughter like Laverne. Like that's just not gonna go well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, that's true though, actually. Now that I think about it, I feel like and I have nothing to base this off of other than my own opinion and just random thoughts off the top of my head. But I feel like male names are a lot more traditional.
I mean, at times, but it's like because I know you see a lot of social media makes fun of like Hayden, Jaden, Jalen,
Yeah.
whatever, which is a newer.
Kaylin.
It's all like a newer name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, then no matter what, though, there's still a million Jacks around.
Right. Right. They're like this. So there's always going to be Stevens, Michaels, Roberts, right? Like those are like they're trying to think of another one.
Paul, Peter, like
Yeah, Paul, Peter, those are other ones too, right? Like those are always going to be around. James. James is another one that's pretty big.
Well,
The
that's the
daughter's
thing
probably
too.
really
It's like
big.
if you go back, these are all like biblical names,
True,
or
yeah.
if not
Yeah.
biblical, they're all saints and
Bible adjacent.
whatever. Um, so yeah, if you're talking about an era of like grandparents or great grandparents, it's like, yes, everybody was named after a fucking saint. I mean, but also there's like a billion saints too, so it's like that's a little
Right,
not fair at the
right.
same time.
Christopher would be another one, right? Like that's
Yeah,
always going to be a big
it's like
name.
Anthony, Nicholas, like all of these are saints. Like
Yeah. Yeah, that's true,
it's like
actually.
actually, I don't know if Jared's a saint.
It is.
Of
I
course,
don't know what
hey,
he's the
you know what? Of
patron
course
saint
it
of.
is.
But yeah, but I mean, mine, I think my name was weird. I asked my mom about that when I was younger, like a teenager. Because at that time I had never met another, well, there was one other Jared in Medford. Was this Jared Tringali? I don't know if you remember him. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
He was a
I knew a
West
hand,
Medford kid.
not
Um,
exactly.
was he a North Medford kid?
No, we live near Jimo, but don't fucking dox people that we don't even talk to anymore.
Uh, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't live in the same place, and West Medford's a pretty big spot, but whatever. Um, yeah, he was the only other Jared that I knew growing up. Um, but then once I got to college and then once I started working, like I met a million of them. Um, and there's all like the different spellings too, which is the whole thing. I think it's actually, hold on, let me ask ChatGPT. It might not be a saint name because I think it's originally Hebrew. Ah, yeah, yeah, Saint Jared does exist.
Of course he
Okay.
does.
In Christian tradition. He's commonly known as Jared. Oh, okay, cool. Just commonly known as Jared. From the Bible's Old Testament, Genesis 5, listed in the genealogy from Adam to Noah. Uh, in Eastern Orthodox and some Catholic calendars, he's recognized as a righteous patriarch, thus sometimes referred to as Saint Jared, a holy forefather. Not one of the more prominent. Yeah, you don't say. Um, oh, that's hilarious. So it goes, he's not one of the more prominent miracle working canonized saints like you'd see in uh, Catholic hagiographies, more of a saint by virtue of ancient righteousness than someone who went through a formal canonization process. So he was just a really nice guy, so they decided to call him a saint. Yeah, but it is Hebrew. I know that. And the original spelling is the way that I spell it. And that was the whole thing why my mom chose that. Because there's like Jarrod, there's Jarod, or if you're Gerard Mayo, you spell it Jerod. But yeah, that is true. That's a good point about the
Yeah, like
Bible
obviously
adjacent
back
names.
then, like religion was way more important, more prevalent,
Right.
whatever. But I mean, again, that's how everyone like was almost like started being named. So then it's like, yeah, it's just gonna trickle down. And obviously, like the way that the Bible's written, there are only so many. So that's the thing. There's probably a shitload of female saints as well. They were written about less.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's Mary, like no shit.
Right.
And then variations of Mary, Marie, Maria, like it's all the same shit.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah. Then there's like Elizabeth, right? Which is like the quintessential white woman name.
I mean, Mary's up there too.
Yeah, no, I know Mary is up there too, but like Elizabeth is like because it all goes back to Queen Elizabeth, right? Like
Of
that was like the whole thing. Like it's all, Queen of England. So yeah,
names,
I
huh?
don't know. Names. I don't even know how we got on that.
I don't even know how it started.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with anything that I actually wanted to talk about in this episode.
I literally don't even know how we got there.
um what I did actually want to get to, and knowing that we do have two of these to do tonight. I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole, but I did think this was super interesting, and I wanted to get your take on it, and just kind of like, see what your thoughts are. So I just finished a podcast episode of Chris Williamson's Modern Wisdom podcast, and he had
I
this
have no
guy
thoughts
on.
about that.
Yeah. Um, he had this guy on named Spencer Greenberg, who is like a psychologist or something like that, psychiatrist, one of those psychoanalyzers. Who the fuck knows, right? He does a lot of that shit. But his big thing is he does a lot of research, and he just put out like a bunch of new stuff. Um, at the end, he was like pumping his YouTube channel. I might check out some of his stuff, probably not. But the big thing they talked about for like the first half to three quarters of the episode was IQ, right? So that's what his most latest work is on. And some of the things he was talking about was like the misconceptions about IQ and people's inability to recognize their own intelligence level, right? So this was a fun one. So I thought it was interesting that he said when you ask people where they typically fall, right, or where they think they fall on the IQ spectrum, they always overestimate their number, right? Like by general rule, right? Obviously, there's going to be some people that are accurate and below, but the general rule is if you ask someone what's their IQ, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm probably like a 110," right? In reality, they're like a 100, right, or a 105 or something like that, or something like that. People have a tendency to overestimate their IQ. Um, However, when you ask them where they typically would fall in like the population like mass, most people tend to say they're like somewhere in the middle, right? So it's like two different questions with two sort of different answers, right? Because they're like, "Oh, what's your IQ?" Like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely like a 120," or in reality, you're like a fucking 95. Um, and they're like, "All right, well, where do you think you fall in relation to like the rest of the world?" They're like, "Oh, probably somewhere right in the middle." Right? Like either whether they say middle or like, upper middle, lower middle, something like that, right? They generally estimate that they're somewhere in the middle. So it was like a weird thing that even super intelligent people do this. So he was talking about like the paradox of you overestimate your IQ, right? So you think you're smarter than you are, but somehow you still only place yourself in the middle.
It probably goes back to some type of psychological thing where you don't want to, it's almost like you don't want to brag, right?
Yeah,
But you don't want to be, so, because that's the way I see it is you don't want to be outed as a retard, but you don't want to
right,
brag either.
right, right.
Because the way I would answer it is, where are you on the IQ spectrum? I'm like, I'm probably on a different spectrum. And then where does that calculate in the population? Way above most,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there are a lot of
yeah,
morons out there.
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
morons.
Yeah.
So what does that say?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like what I felt as well. It's actually what they talked about, right? They said that people are less likely to want to identify themselves as an outlier, whether too high or too low, right? They sort of that, but they have this inability to reason with how smart they actually are. And this guy, Spencer Greenberg, brought it up. It's the exact same process for physical attraction, right? So, like, if you ask people, and he said this is insane, he goes, he's done this study. And he goes, if you're standing on the street and you ask everyone on a scale of 1 to 10, how attractive do you think you are? Everyone answers a 6 or a 7. right? Like every single person answers a six or a seven. And it's like, well, you're not all sixes and sevens because that defeats the purpose of the spectrum, right? So, but like an overwhelming number of people, when asked, where do you fall on the physical attraction spectrum, put themselves at a six or a seven, right? Which is kind of the same thing as what he drew the parallel to the IQ thing where he's like they have people are unable to reason with themselves to where they really are, and then they just put themselves somewhere in the middle because it's comfortable.
So again, that's gonna be like some type of psychological thing because, like, just for example, at work, it's like kid will be like, "Oh, my knees bother me." I'm like, "All right, scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it?" So if they want to fight through, they're gonna say 3 or 4
Yeah,
because it's lower than 5, but it still indicates like, oh, there's something.
right,
And if it's like, this is the other part. If they don't want to do whatever they're about to do, now it's a 7
right. Yeah,
because they're trying to tell me like I'm not doing what you're telling me, but like I'm not gonna say it's a 10 because 10 wouldn't indicate like, okay, I might be in trouble.
10 would indicate like you're on the ground, like we're not having a discussion about
Well,
how
again,
bad your
but
knee
remember
hurts.
it's not like a football play where they're down.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
okay, we're
fair.
gonna run this drill. Ooh, my knee's kind of bothering me. All right, scale of 1 to 10, how bad? It's a 3 or 4. I'm like, all right, if it's 3 or 4, hop back out there. Fine. Um, but if it's like, oh, 7, I'm like, all right, well, go hang tight. Let me fucking figure this out, I guess. So I
Yeah,
think, so I think that's like, that's almost kind of like anytime, I don't know if it's peer pressure. So it's got to be a function of what? Self-esteem, and then also either like peer pressure or just like ego or not wanting to, well, how'd you phrase it? Or how did they phrase it? Not wanting to stand out from the crowd or something?
yeah,
Or
you
not be
want
an
to blend
outlier? Is that
in.
what you said?
You don't want to be an outlier. Yeah, no one wants to be an outlier,
Yeah. Because that's the
whether
thing.
too
It's
high or too
like,
low.
I gotta think that going back to like the IQ test, like anyone that says they have a high IQ, they would have to know they have a high IQ.
Right.
Or they probably have a low IQ. Like that's how I see it. Like they would either have to know
Yeah,
that they're a high
yeah,
IQ person
yeah. Or
or
they're a fucking moron.
they're an idiot.
Yeah,
Because like
yeah.
someone who's actually smart, like truly like really brilliant, they're never gonna believe that they're that smart because they always know that there's more to learn and people to learn from and even different angles on what they already know. Like,
Which is the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? That we've talked about before. We talk about it all the time. And they brought it up in that episode too, the Dunning-Kruger effect. And they said if you plot the points from their survey and you relay it to their actual IQ, it follows the Dunning-Kruger uh what do you parabola, right? Or it's not a parabola, but the Dunning-Kruger plot graph, right? They'll like when you
same as
learn a
like
little bit, it goes
just
way
being on
up.
Mahomes. No, there's
Yeah,
actually statistics and reason why
yeah,
you shouldn't, and then it's just
yeah.
just bet on Mahomes at the same parabola.
Yeah, it's the you learn a little bit and you think you know everything. You learn a little bit more, then you say you think you know nothing. And then over time you start to learn more, so the curve gradually increases over time. That's the Dunning-Kruger. And that's what they said. If you plot the points on the graph from this guy's survey, it fits the Dunning-Kruger effect. So it's exactly what you just said.
Yeah,
The
and
people that claim they have high IQs are either actually have an high IQ or they're idiots.
and because that's the way I see it is like if I pulled all my athletes at the gym, they're all gonna tell me that they have like decent whatever because they are students, they are getting decent grades. Like they're being told like, yeah, you're a good enough student because you pass this, you pass that, you get this on your
Yeah,
report card, you get that on your report card. You've moved on to level 300 classes in college, or you graduated college and now you're in grad school. It's like
yeah.
none of, and I tell them this all the time. I go, none of that's like intelligence, or none of that is IQ. It's not.
They talk
It's
about that.
it's
That was the
knowledge, it's
thing.
education, like, but like they're
Yeah.
all gonna think that they're high IQ, and I'm like, they also can't come to grips with the idea that an 18-year-old kid or a 12, 13-year-old kid doesn't know things. And it's like
Yeah. So that
it's a crazy thing because if you like really like I don't know if you need to go back as far as like ancient philosophers or if you just need to like go back in history about like great inventors or something. And it's like, what were they always as a kid? They were always curious. They were always asking questions. They were always trying things. They were failing
right.
things.
Right.
Make mistakes, learn from mistakes, do, don't, whatever. But now, fast forward like kids in the education system, they think they know everything.
Right. Right. And they're idiots. It's the Dunning-Kruger
Like
curve in effect again.
exact and that's the thing. But and then when I say I'm like, listen, you're not supposed to be smart. You're 16.
Right.
They like don't know how to come to grips with that idea.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like again, I know I'm an idiot and it's fine. And there are some people like so for example, golf today, like one of the guys I played with, his IQ has to be higher than mine. And I don't know anything about him. Or I know a little bit about
Yeah.
him, but like he's in his 60s. He started his own business. He was an electrician. Like he's getting ready to retire or close to if he didn't already and like has had kids and kids have moved on and everything. And it's like that person has more intelligence than me, regardless of education level, and simply just because he's been on this earth longer.
Yeah, so that's all actually also something different, right? So that's you were spot on with the first part of it though, because this guy laid out the what is actually IQ, right? And he said what most people think IQ is are skills, right? And he said IQ is something he goes, if I gave you an IQ test, what it tests for is if you trying to remember exactly how he laid it out, but it was something along the lines of like, if you improve this one thing, it improves all the other test parameters as well. Right. So it's like, it's not just one thing. And he goes, if you improve one thing and just that one thing gets better, that's called a skill. Right. So he goes, like, intelligence and skills go hand in hand, obviously. Right. And theoretically, in some instances, the higher your intelligence, the better, the better go you would have at learning some skills. Um, but he said that a lot of times people confuse skills with IQ, right? And again, like I forget the specifics of it, but he basically said like the parameters of testing for IQ are something that, like I said, if you increase one of those, all of the other ones increase as well.
Yeah, and I guess without being clear, I know fucking throwing in profession probably fucked that up a little bit. I was more so going with the idea that people who have been around longer are better at problem solving, critical thinking, taking in information, absorbing it, and then
Yeah,
going back out with it. Um, so yes, I mean like that guy's like well, obviously he's way more skilled than most people I know because he's done his craft a long time, the same way a retired financial advisor is probably more skilled than the kid who's been doing financial advising for 3 years. Like,
yeah,
but I mean, dude, it's the oldest of cliches. Like, with age comes wisdom and stuff, and it's like that has to, and like, it has to improve your intelligence to an extent as well. Because some people are just brilliant normally.
right.
Some people have to work at it. Because I think, and I don't know what, and I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know the ins and outs of an IQ test. I've never taken one. I've never done one.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know how
took
it's
one like
evaluated.
I did one of those online ones in college one day when I was bored. So I have no idea how like efficacious it is, right? Like I don't know
Yeah.
if it's real or not.
Yeah. Um, but I'm like, some of that has to go into play, like things you can learn over time.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like how it's because in my opinion, you're not just born with intelligence. You need to develop it. and it's a part of development.
Yeah.
Now, some people will develop it faster, better, stronger in one way or the other. I don't know how that works. That's not my realm at all.
Yeah.
I know I missed out on that. Um, because it's like Wayne from Letterkenny.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that
Yeah.
baby's so smart. Ugh. Now, what about
Yeah.
that makes you think he should be charting on navigated pathways in the brain?
Yeah.
And it's a fair point.
Right. Right.
It's like, oh my God, that baby's so smart. It's like, no,
Yeah.
they're not.
Yeah.
No, they made a good move for a baby. Congrats, but
Right. You
like
know,
this
they're
thing,
not
like,
solving
say
Einstein's theory of
what did your son do?
relativity.
Did he find out how to fucking open the door the other day?
Yeah, this is a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so okay, so your son figured out how to open the door, and it's like, oh my God, this kid's like gonna be so smart because you figured out how to open the door, and it's like, no, you probably watched us do it
He watched us do it a million times.
and then just copied it.
Yeah. Yeah. Unlock the deadbolt and hit the handle on the door and open it
Yeah.
up.
And again, if we consider ourselves, you know, stupid people, which I believe I am,
Yeah.
so he has now just gotten to the level of stupid person. Congrats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he made an action that wasn't baby, it was dumb human.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And yeah,
Yep.
it's like, and that's the funniest thing. Now, like maybe in his years growing up, like he will ask questions and think critically and he'll come at you with stuff. And then you can go, it's like, ooh, okay, that is something like that's a quality that like, or a trait that could be something. But no, just because they figured out how to fucking turn a cup into a car, like doesn't mean they've figured out intelligence or anything.
So the interesting thing that came up that he mentioned, the one thing that just kind of like blew me away, right? And he does a way better job of explaining this. But he said your big five personality traits have more to do with your success in life and, whatever than your IQ. And this is where, like, I wish I paid closer attention to that. But basically, he said, like, IQ helps you like learn and solve problems faster. But like one of the big five is conscientiousness. But like so like conscientiousness is to ensures that you actually know what to do and then you actually do it, right? So like what's the other one? Openness, right? I think is one of the big five
I've
as
never
well.
learned these personalities. Shows how good I
Yeah.
am here.
Well, I think it's the INFP stuff.
Yeah, but you
Like
got to
the
remember
the
the time I did that,
ENTJ, whatever,
it was
for
only
golf.
it
Yeah.
was only specific
Yeah.
to golf, and it
Yeah.
was introvert, extrovert. I don't know. I'd have to go back. It was like introvert, extrovert.
Yeah, I can't remember them either.
I don't remember.
I know one of them is neuroticism, and then the last one is judgmental, and then I think it's openness or something. But
There's
like,
a
so that's
P
what they,
somewhere too.
yeah, I don't know what the P stands for. I don't know. But like one of them, like openness is, are you willing to recognize that you might have been wrong about something, right? So that's what he says. You
No,
might you might have a high IQ, but or he actually a better example would be you have a lower to middle IQ. If you're high in openness, right, in your personality, then you're open to the idea that you didn't know the correct answer and now you're willing to learn the right answer versus someone with a high IQ, right, who has more closed-mindedness, like they're not as open. They believe the wrong thing. They're not willing to change their mind on the wrong thing, but their IQ is higher, but they believe something that's incorrect, right? Like that's what he was kind of getting at, where like it's not just your IQ. And his argument through the studies that he's done was that your personality has more to do with how successful you are and sort of like the what general people would think of as intelligence, right? Versus like strictly on an IQ test. Because like basically what it is the IQ test gives you the number, right? It's just going to give you a number of where you fall on the spectrum. But your personality is how that number is applied, right? And then the situation I just gave where a dumb person that's open can learn new things and a smart person that's closed-minded can't learn new things, right? So it's like that's kind of one of those things. And then Chris Williamson, why I like him is kind of a meat stick. He made it like into like a bro science, right? And he was like, well, yeah, he because he looked at it as like depression and happiness. And he's like, if you are introverted, right, but you sleep 8 hours a day, you eat well, you exercise regularly and you take your vitamins, you're gonna feel really great all the time. But if you're extroverted and you sleep 3 hours, you drink booze you're out boozing all the time, you're always doing crazy shit or whatever, it's like you're gonna feel like shit, right? But like it's just one of those things, and that's kind of how he equated to it. And it makes a little bit of sense when you think of it that way too. But I thought that like I said, that was the one thing that kind of caught me off guard, right? That like, yeah, the IQ is just a number, right? Like your personality is how you apply that to the real world. Because I think a lot of people get hung up on that number, right? They see like, oh, I scored a 97, right? I'm below average, right? I think the average, I, mm, I don't know what the worldwide average is, but I think the average in the United States is 100. But like if someone scored a 97, they'd be like, oh man, I'm like just below average. Like I must be dumb. And it's like, no, your personality has more to do with that. Like that's effectively kind of like the range where you live in, right? So like if you score a 97, you're probably never going to be an astrophysicist, right? But like that doesn't mean that you're a fucking moron either. Like you can apply yourself and learn new things. And that again, Chris Williamson used the analogy of a basketball player, right? He was like, if you're 5'10", can you get to the NBA? Yeah, you can. It's been done before, but it's just really fucking hard to do it, right? It's the same thing. Like if your IQ is a 97, like, and you want to go work for NASA, you can. It's just going to be really fucking hard.
Let's hit the books. You better start fucking understanding some complex
Yeah.
fucking concepts.
Yeah, like I said, the whole thing was just kind of like interesting to me because it sort of broke apart the stigma of the IQ, right? And the number itself. Like just because it's on the surface, right? Low or high or middle or whatever, doesn't really mean a ton. It just kind of tells you like the range that you're in, which is sort of contrary to like how everyone treats it, right? Like,
Mm, Yeah, I mean, I always thought anyone that like, I don't know. I guess I fucking think differently. It's like if anyone was ever gonna like flaunt their IQ, I would be like, you're a moron. Like straight up, like you flaunt your
yeah,
IQ, you're an idiot.
yeah,
The quiet ones, those are the ones you gotta like keep an
right,
eye on.
right,
Like the quiet ones that ask good questions and like no, like because it's like you can see kids, people that are just like really truly smart,
right,
and they probably have no idea what their IQ is, nor do they give a fuck.
right, right. So the last thing, and then we can wrap it up. This was also pretty interesting. So like I said, the personality thing kind of like blew my mind a little bit, but I thought this was like one of the more interesting parts of the entire podcast because he talked about this is cold hard facts. This isn't opinion. There's been multiple studies and all this shit that track this. The higher your IQ, the higher the likelihood that you're one, going to suffer from depression, and two, they have like a happiness scale, whatever. You're going to scale, you're going to, on average, test more miserable, right? So, on average, people with higher IQs are more likely to be depressed, and they're also more likely to be unhappy, right? Like in the sense of like miserable, not just depressed, right? Obviously, depressed is like a clinical diagnosis. Like that's how it's being used in this sense, not just sad, right? Like so like you're more likely to like I said, to be clinically depressed and also be miserable.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that dude working in a Stop and Shop for 5 years. Like the fucking space cadet. We always used to say it's like, man, Matt, what it would be like to be a space cadet? I go, must be great. Must be
Yeah.
great to just live your life without a care in the fucking world.
Yeah. 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 And then so they the reason why they talked about this and why it was coming up too is eventually they're going to get to a point where you can sort of manipulate this in um like embryonic selection, right? So like in vitro fertilization and embryonic selection and things like that, you're going to be able to select for IQ levels. And Chris Williamson asked the question. He was like, well, that kind of puts you in a little bit of a conundrum, right? Because he goes, if you ask 10 people that have kids what they want for their kids, he goes, I bet you all 10 of them would say, I just want them to be happy. Right. But then if you ask them separately, would you want to give your kid a higher IQ or a lower IQ? All 10 would probably say a higher IQ. And it's like, well, in reality, if you want them to a higher likelihood of being happy, they need to have a lower IQ.
Just want above average,
Yeah. What'd
most
you say?
likely. Like you're just above average.
Yeah. 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 No, I mean, that is the
Like,
real answer to it.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, in the like playing on the extremes, right? Like with the scientific evidence that high IQ people, again, are more likely to be depressed and miserable. Um, which is interesting, right? Because I mean, it makes sense because they're more aware of the world. They have a little bit more capacity to, or interest, right? Not capacity necessarily, but they're more interested in other things that are happening, right? And they're willing to spend the time to learn a little bit more, right? So they realize like how fucked up politicians are and how geopolitics are
Yeah.
a
Ultimately,
scam and
everything fucking sucks.
right, right. And then they're just become depressed. Whereas like, an 85 IQ person is just like, yeah, man, I'm just going to go to fucking work today and then go
That's it.
home and eat dinner.
That's it.
They're not interested in all that other shit.
Nope. Nor should they.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Just about like I said, I literally just finished it as I was making dinner. So it was fresh on my mind. So I was interested to see your thoughts on some of that. At the end of the day, I think it makes sense, right? If you like stop and think about it, I don't think it's groundbreaking information, but it's still interesting.
Yeah. I mean, kind of, sort of, you know, just more or less breaks down. If you spend enough time to observe, it kind of just breaks it all down.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, you want to wrap this up?
We can wrap this up.
All right.
Uh, so the last couple years, the USGA changed their handicap index things where 9 hole rounds, this is the last 2 seasons. So like nine
Yeah.
hole rounds don't get posted, or because in the past, like if you shot 40 and 40, it would go in as an 80 once you posted the second 40. And
Right.
then you get your differential based on 80, whatever. And to be fair, that would lead to some lower handicaps than what it should have been because, if you shoot 37 on the front, I don't know if you're going to shoot 40 on the back. You might shoot 43 on the back. Like it can fall apart, whatever.
Right.
So how you shoot for nine is not the same as 18. So you were getting some people with some lower numbers, myself included. That's like kind of how I worked my way down to a one because it's like I snuck an under par round for 18 in, but then also with like a bunch of nines that were just kind of low.
Yeah.
Um, so it was like I was like a one and change. I think the very low was like a 1-2 and it only lasted for like a day or something. But like I got kind of down there. And what I found now is not even really last year, but this year specifically, all these 9 hole rounds, because the algorithm basically what it's doing is it's basically just bringing you back to your handicap. So it's like if you want to move your index, you need to play 18 hole rounds, you need to play well. Or I
Yeah.
guess if move it positively.
Right.
And if you play 18 hole rounds badly, it moves it away. And it's again, because it's like on my index at one point, it was like 37, 38, 38, 37, which normally would have combined into two 75s. But it's like
Right.
every single thing went in a 75 at Sharon's like a one and change, two and change differential. But all of these went in as fours, like 4.2, 4.6, whatever.
Right.
So like my handicap's at 4.4 right now, and it's probably not going anywhere. Or it'll be a 3.9 tomorrow. Um, So I've kind of like observed that, and it was funny because I played with a guy today, and he goes, "What's your index?" I go 4.4. He goes, "Well, that's not right." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I'm a 4.8," and he goes, "You and I are not the same player." I go, "Well, mine's a function of all the 9 hole rounds, like the way the math works."
Right.
And he goes, "Oh," he goes, "Yeah, all right." He goes, "That makes sense." I go, "So truth be told, because your handicap index is supposed to be your top 8 of your 20, so a lot of people have called it for years as your handicap potential.
Right.
Mine is a hell of a lot closer to my average score right now." And that's because like, if you go on Lou Stagner's Twitter, he's always like, your handicap index is not your average score. It's more your potential. It's like if you took your index and added 3, that's going to be closer to your average score. And that number actually really works out pretty good. But
Yeah.
when you post a bunch of nines, brings you a lot closer to your average score
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
anything else. Um,
Huh.
so yeah, I mean that's observation. They must have tweaked their algorithm going into this year because it wasn't that severe last year. Like if I shot one over, it might give me like a 3 differential. Like it would almost say like, okay, if you're a 3 and change, that means you're getting, say, 5 at Sharon Country Club, 3 on the front, 2 on the back. If I only shot the one over, it would give me the 2 on the back for a 3, if that math
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense as I said it. But
Yeah.
now it's like if you only get the one on the front, it implies that you're just going to shoot kind of closer to average. Now you get a 4 and change. Um, so yeah,
Interesting.
interesting observation just from this year. I noticed it probably like a month ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Better in tournaments, though. You get more strokes.
Yeah, so I mean, then when I played a couple weeks ago with 3 guys, like kind of in the morning crew, they texted me, and yeah, I shot my handicap, and honestly, didn't really play that well, but I made 4 birdies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was getting 5, and I shot 5. I shot 5 over,
Yeah.
and then we had qualifying yesterday. I shot 78. That's my average score, and then today we played. I shot 74. And that's why the guy was like, "You and I are not the same player." And I'm like, "Well, I am playing well today. Let's start
Yeah.
there." But number two, that handicap algorithm's just different.
Yeah.
So, and I think like a lot of the other guys have noticed this too, because the other piece is if a one handicap shoots a 38 at Sharon and a 4 handicap shoots a 38 at Sharon, the differentials are different.
Huh. Yeah.
Whereas if you guys play 18 holes, if I shoot 74 today and someone else shot 74, differential's the exact same.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I guess some of the guys at some other clubs are like, I'm not posting nines anymore. I'll wait till I combine 2 or something. I'm like, that defeats the purpose,
Yeah. Yeah. It literally
like
undercuts
altogether.
what the USGA was doing.
Because the thing is, like, if you're supposed to be a lower handicap, then play fucking better.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I see it. Like if I should
Right,
be better than a 4.4, then I should shoot better than a 4.4.
right.
No,
Yeah,
I think my 77 was, I forget what the differential is, because if it's five over par, or maybe that's a 4.2 or something. But yeah, I mean, a 74 differential is like a one something.
yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Play fucking better.
Yeah, just play better. All right. So my final thought, we're back. It's football season. Preseason has started. It's been a long 7 months, right? Ish since February. Um,
I think math doesn't check.
sure it does.
Been less than
Eight,
six.
it's eight, no, from February to August, 2 to 10.
Eight,
That's 8 months.
8 minus 2.
Oh yeah, I was doing 10. Why did I think August was the 10th month? Hey, my IQ ain't that
Bro,
fucking high.
because your IQ and your personality sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking August was the 10th month. I was like, nah, come on, dude. It's 10 minus 2. It's fucking 8 months.
I bet that
No,
Super Bowl
it's
was less than 6 months ago.
yeah, it's eight. It's 8 minus 2. So it's 6 months. Football is back, so yeah, that's great. Obviously, cool, fun. I watched Patriots the other night. I only watched the first half because that's really all that mattered. Really, all that mattered was the first quarter. I just missed football, so I wanted to watch the rest of it. But then by halftime, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So, cool that football is back, but at the same time, my God, I know I'm gonna say this was awesome, and now I'm gonna bitch about it. But this is absurd of the people that are like, oh, Patriots are back. Patriots are back. They're gonna win 12 games. Book like Vinny, right? Vinny's like, oh, they're gonna win 12 games. Dude, you
I'm supposed to be
watched,
hanging with them now.
yeah, I know. You watched 12 minutes of a game where like first stringers played maybe against first stringers on the other team. Like you have no idea, right? It's preseason football. Guys don't give a shit. Like the poor guy got carted off the field in the Falcons game, Falcons Lions in the fourth quarter because they thought he got paralyzed. He got taken out on a stretcher, and they just called the game. There was like 14 minutes left in the game, and they were just like, for anyone that's not aware, there's 15 minutes in a quarter. So the entire fourth quarter was left and when this guy got taken off in the ambulance. And the next play, the Falcons snapped the ball. They let the clock run out, and then everyone just stood there. They got in the middle of the field. They stood in a circle. They said a prayer, and then they just kept letting the clock run. And they were like, "Yeah, I'm a head out." Right. So I said to Nico's, like, there's a lot of people that were really pissed off that took the over in that game because it ended 17-10 for a total of 27 and the over under on the game was 33. So they had the entire fourth quarter to just score one touchdown and the game would have went over. But regardless, right? If you're betting on preseason football, that's a whole other thing. But um yeah, like it's nuts, dude. Like and it's not just Patriots fan bases. Obviously, Patriots is the worst because we're here, right? We live here and we hear it from everyone. And obviously, Vinny is a Bobo, right? But like across the country, right? People are like, oh, yeah, no, this team's going to be great. Or everyone's like, oh, no, the Cardinals are going to suck because look, Kyler Murray threw an interception in the first play of the game. It's like, dude, you have no fucking idea what these teams are going to be like. Not a fucking clue. So, yeah, like I said, as much as I love football being back, um, I can't stand the fucking hot takes. I just can't do it.
I get used to it then.
I mean, it's one thing if it's like, regular season, right? If it's like week 3 and a team like let me think of a shit bum team. Like if the Saints, right? If the Saints opened up 3-0 somehow, God forbid, and like the Saints fan base was like, "Oh, Tyler Shuck, he's the next Drew Brees," like all this. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna still disagree with you, but like you guys are 3-0, so like it is what it is, right? Like I get where you're coming from. Um, but like it's preseason, man. Like it doesn't fucking matter. Like save the hot takes for the regular season. That's all I ask.
Just gonna disassociate yourself. I already did. Go, Chris. I go, don't tell me about any injuries unless the words carted off came up. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah,
It's July.
right,
I
right.
go, don't tell me about people at or not at practice. Don't care. I go, don't tell me about some random ass white wide receiver that I don't give a flying fuck about.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
isn't gonna make the
Efton
team.
Chisholm.
Don't he's not gonna make the team, so don't fucking talk to me about him.
Yeah, yep,
I'll see you week one when we have a final roster.
exactly. Yeah, yep. I am 100. I agree with you
That's my
100%.
next move is when the Patriots have a final roster. Because that's the other thing too is when they announce the 53, it's not final because
Right.
they got to
They
put
do the
people on it
whole.
to give them IR and then put people from the practice squad and get them back. Like
That's what
they
they
do
did with
goofy
Brian
shit there
Hoyer a
too.
couple of years ago. They cut Brian Hoyer. They said, "Don't go anywhere. We're going to call you tomorrow." They had to put a couple guys on IR. The next day, Brian Hoyer's back in the team, right? Because that was
Yeah,
the thing. Was it Mac Jones's second year? He was the
it
only
doesn't
quarterback
matter.
on the roster, and everyone was
Yeah,
losing their shit. They were like, "Oh my God, how can you cut Brian Hoyer? He was the only one. You have one quarterback on your roster. What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah." Yeah, literally the next day, Brian Hoyer was back. They just did it because they had to move the roster around.
yeah. So once all of that has settled, then we can talk.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that said, that's going to do it. So, thanks for watching. Click subscribe wherever you're at. Um, Thumbs up on YouTube. You can get the social medias on the bottom of the screen. Support the sponsors, support us. And until next time, good night, everybody.